Hey everybody, Steve Schirmer of the Golf Game Podcast here. Just some final thoughts for the Memorial. Maybe you've already filled out your betting card and are maybe looking for some positive reinforcements for some of your bets. But this video is actually more for people who actually have not filled out their betting card. We're kind of waiting to the last minute, looking for some general stuff maybe to look at for it. So here's what I'm going to do. My betting card is already made. I'll tell you about, who I bet and everything like that. But we're going to walk through just where things kind of stand tonight, where some of the odds, where some guys have been moving, guys have been steamed up, guys were faded and dropped in the odds board. Some general observations, just kind of who I've seen people be picking this week and just kind of how I feel about it. So let's pull up Data Golf here. There we go. Let me get that on my screen here. So I think, the big question this week is, do you want a single bullet Rahm or Scheffler? Obviously Scotty Scheffler, since I've been tracking golf stats manually, this is the best stretch of tee to green I've seen ever. Solid, consistent performances. I think over his last 12 rounds, he's gaining something like 3.2 strokes tee to green. So, and the odds obviously reflect this. He is 6-1 in an elevated event. And, he got a little bit of action on DraftKings there, started 650, dropped down to 6, but it stayed there. And this is similar to what we saw last week at Colonial, where the odds, I think the books are just saying, okay, this is what the price is. We're not really going to move off it. If you want to bet it. If not, then go somewhere else. So best price available right now is 7-1 on Bet Online. I'm including this one because I have an account on Bet Online. I have an offshore along with some of the old books here. I know sometimes I will get a little more favorable odds at that place. So that's the best price you can get on Scheffler. So if you want a single bullet him, listen, there's no case against it. It's not really my style for it. I chose to go a different route to try and get Scotty Scheffler shares on my betting card, which you can see on our Twitter account tonight. You also go with Jon Rahm here. This one's pretty interesting, though. This one seems like it's almost like a football game where the point spread's been hovering between 3 and 3.5. And then once it hits 3.5, goes right back down to that. We kind of see here, goes up to 750, a little while later, back to 7, back to 750, back to 7 in 3 different time increments here. Again, best price, 8-1 on Bet Online. So I guess the question is, if you want single bullet Rahm or Scheffler, obviously just have that on your card. If there's probably anybody else you want on your card, you're definitely going to have to forego pretty much everybody in this entire middle section. Otherwise, you're just spending too much on outrights at that point. I would probably suggest starting, if you want to go here, maybe go down to 2 guys that I already bet this week. You got Justin Thomas, who's actually floated all the way to 35-1 on Bet Online. Actually, he's received not a whole lot of action. I got him at 33 at the beginning of the week. Now he's available at 35. So clearly, if I would still bet him at 33, I'd bet him at 35. Look, I've been talking about this all week with Justin Thomas that, I don't think it's as bad as what people think it is. I'm not really sure what happened to the PGA. He was bad everywhere. But before that, coming into the PGA, he was starting to drive the ball really good. He was hitting a lot of fairways. The iron play seemed like it was coming back. He's a great scrambler, and he's had a couple, not mind-blowing putting weeks, but he gained at, I think, Quail Hollow, and he only lost a little bit at the PGA. So, in this type of place in Murrayfield Village, it's a place that rewards really good ball striking, really good iron play, really good around the green play. There are guys who've been struggling with the putters, can go to Murrayfield Village and just turn it around. Maybe he's one of those cans, especially with how some of the weather conditions are setting up. I think this golf course is going to be really firm. I think it's going to be really difficult to hold greens. We might get a little bit of wind this weekend too. Maybe. We'll see there. Or you could add a Hideki, basically the same vein. He's definitely popular this week, though. He's received a lot of action. DraftKings started at 35 down to 30 in the middle of the week, back up to 35, though. So there's that. 40-1 on Bet Online. No one really bet him there. Went, basically hovering around 35-1 every single other book. I've seen his name bat around on a lot of more mainstream pick sites. So it's not like I'm catching everybody while they're napping here, being on Hideki, but a lot of the similar things I said about JT, I can say about Hideki, where the iron play has been really good. He's so good around the green. I've seen him do very well in really firm conditions, difficult conditions, obviously a former winner here. I bet him at 40-1, so I can see him, those prices there. So I did. So I guess if you don't want, if you want to pair Scheffler or Rahm with somebody else, probably JT or Hideki would be my vote just because I already bet them. Or you could maybe go down the card to like Russell Henley territory. Data Golf loves Russell Henley this week. They have him at 49.5-1. Started the week at 75-1. So you missed the boat on any of the Russell Henley's good prices. Now he's down to 45-1 on Caesars and DraftKings. I don't really know if I like that. I mean, I'd rather bet Hideki 40-1 or Fitzpatrick 40-1 than Henley 45-1. But the case for a Henley would be, look, I mean, we just saw Billy Horschel win last year. Henley's profile is almost identical to Horschel's. Not a lot of distance, but accurate off the tee. The iron play's been really good lately. Really good around the green too. Some decent results here. He's got a couple top 10s. So I understand why there's been so much steam. I think it's been driven by this Data Golf number right here. I do notice that when books hang bad odds, and as soon as Data Golf drops their projections, sure enough, these usually drop by stone. They start getting a lot of action. So that makes sense why Henley's prices drop down. One guy who Data Golf does not like, but I've seen a lot of steam on Adam Scott. And I like Adam Scott too this week. I mean, he's been playing good. The long iron play has been a little better lately. But man, like again, you missed the boat on the good pricing with him. You could have gotten him at 70-1 bet online. I actually saw an 80-1 at FanDuel that before Data Golf was tracking the odds would have been available. Now he's down to 55-1 on that book, 50-1 on Caesars, 51 on Bet365. At this point, I think you missed the boat on it. Again, I think I would rather bet a Hideki or pay a little more for a JT or Fitzpatrick even. So then bet Adam Scott, even though I really like Adam Scott. He's on my betting cards as a positional, but again, I think you just kind of missed the boat on him too. A couple other guys in this range. Shane Lowry's not getting, I've seen a couple mainstream outlets pick Lowry just because of the ball striking numbers with him. I think my issue with Lowry is around the green. He has not been very good lately, and the putter has just been real atrocious. So could that turn around this week? Maybe. Do I think Lowry's actually going to win with what he's been showing? I don't think so. So I don't really like that. And then everybody else here, I think if you're going to bet somebody this week, probably your limit is Gary Woodland, just because he has the upside for it. I mean, you can get 125-1 on Gary Woodland and bet online. That's worth a little bit of a flyer if you want to add a triple digit long shot there. So that's kind of where things stand, where if you want to bet Scheffler or Rahm, those are a couple of options at your disposal. So what about everybody else in this range here, from Patrick Cantlay all the way down to like Sam Burns? Like these are basically your kind of your premium players right now on the PGA Tour. And then it kind of drops off after that from Burns down to like, your mid-tier Connors, Kim, Adam Scott, Lowry. So let me tell you names that I have not really seen a whole lot of picks from this week, at least on the mainstream sites. Obviously, a lot of action on Patrick Cantlay this week, a lot of action on Xander this week. Both are really two popular DFS plays. Let's go to Rory, though. I have not seen a single person other than Matt Gannon last night on our show actually pick Rory. He made some quotes today about how, they're asking him about how he's never really figured this place out. And he says that's correct. It's really about hitting a lot of fairways. He mentioned, I think in 2014, where he had a opening round 63 and then came back with a 78. And that just what happens. You just stop missing fairways this place. If you're spraying all over the yard, you're going to get punished for it. So that's one reason why he cited that he hasn't been good here. Although looking at his stats, though, he gains a lot of strokes off the tee at this place. So clearly hasn't affected him in that department. The one thing, though, that kind of caught my eye was, he opened up about his struggles at the PGA, which is strange because he finished T7, but he said that he did not have his best stuff that week. He was openly uncomfortable over the ball, didn't feel like he had good face control. He's in much better spirits now. He seems like he's kind of figured it out. So that's, if I hadn't filled out a card already, 16-1 on McIlroy when no one's on him, where he's got top 10s and top 5s in his career here. And this is a golf course. You don't have to hit a driver a whole lot. He mentioned he only hit driver 4 times. And if he's clubbing down a little bit, maybe he can be a little more accurate off the tee, especially if he has some more control. I don't know, 16-1 on Rory. That's tempting. That's tempting if you haven't bet that yet. That I think if I had made a betting card, I think I would bet Rory at that number. Some other guys I haven't heard a whole lot about. Seems like people just think Morikawa is dead. Again, looking at his action this week, no action at all. Started at 22, down to 25, down to 20 on Bet Online. I was hoping with him. I mean, I made a betting card at the beginning of the week, so it didn't matter. But if I had waited, I would have hoped to seen Morikawa touch 30 at that point. And then I would have considered betting him just because, look, at Colonial, he started out +5, finished turning even. So he was -5 over his last 63 holes there. And he was +7 on hole number 9 alone. And he was 7 under the rest of the way. So if he just doesn't screw up that hole, if he doesn't screw up the first 9, I mean, maybe he's cashing the outright I bet on him last week. And that's always the frustrating thing with Morikawa. It seems like I bet on him a lot before wins. I've kind of given up on him after that. Seems like, times when it seems like, he's really struggling. It's when he's won. I mean, famously, he won concession after losing 10 strokes putting at Riviera. He had a horrible Scottish Open where the ball striking was a mess, and unbeknownst to everybody else, apparently he found something on the range with a simple club tweak. And then he won the Open Championship the next week when no one was on him either. These kind of things happen with Colin. He's at a good golf course. My one concern, I think, with Colin, if I was sitting here right now, I still wouldn't bet him. It's not necessarily the price of the 20-1. I think there's going to be some wind over the weekend, and I really look at those weather reports with Colin, and if with how high of a fade he hits, if there's any sort of wind, it just gets caught up in the wind there, and that's the one concern I have with him right now is I don't know if he has good control over his driver off the tee game right now. He seems lost in that department, so probably laying off there. I had not heard anything about Jordan Spieth. I don't think you can touch him at this point. Although, I mean, he did get a little action this week. I mean, 20, he got hit a couple times on Caesars, got hit on DraftKings. I think I'm just a pass on him at this point. He mentioned last week that this is not an injury that's, it's going to take time to heal. He can make it worse technically, and that's always a big risk. That's probably a pass for me. I haven't heard anything about Fitzpatrick this week either. I don't really get it, to be quite honest. I mean, I know his course history here isn't all that tremendous, but he does have a 3rd place finish in 2020 when it was super firm and it was just an up and down game. That's really all Fitzpatrick can do. His iron play has been really good lately. Obviously great at getting up and down, good bentgrass putter. I think the one area of concern with him is that he hasn't been all that accurate out the tee lately. But 2 weeks is a long time in golf. Sometimes that gets fixed. So I would consider a 40-1 on Fitzpatrick if I hadn't done a betting card. Just considering no one's really on him, I think it's a decent price. I know he just won it at Heritage, but maybe he can win again. No one's on Sungjae this week. He's just been horrible. The iron play has been bad. But this is also, I remember last year we were saying the same thing about Billy Horschel. Oh, he's dead. Bad performance at Colonial. Not going to come here and fix it. I mean, and Data Golf loves him just because he fits all the attributes: accurate, good iron player, great scrambler. I'm not going to take the cheese. I've taken the cheese too many times with Sungjae, and that burns me this week. Say la vie. Haven't heard anything about Cam Young either. You can see in the odds here, start at 30-1, all the way down to 45-1 on some books, 40-1 on FanDuel. Maybe people will just remember his 85 in the final round, but you also might be forgetting he was first round leader last year. For me, as someone who just scoped out the Canadian Open golf course next week, I'm going to call my shot. I think Cam Young wins next week. I will probably be placing a bet on Cam Young based on how I think that golf course is going to play, which I will tell you all about this weekend. But for now, my outright is probably going to get saved for him for next week. So overall, though, I mean, just final thoughts here. I mean, I'm always a sucker for Cantlay and Xander, but these odds right here, though, I just think they're too low. I mean, considering that Rory McIlroy just has more win equity than these other guys, I don't think I'm taking the cheese on these odds, even though just on paper they look better. I still would bet Hovland. I mean, I still can get the 22 that I got him at the beginning of the week. He got some steam. Now he's definitely faded as the week has gone on. He has a trendy pick, but sometimes trendy picks wins. Shout out Brooks Koepka at the PGA. So there's that. I know Hatton is a very trendy pick. I got him at 30, I would still bet him at this price. So basically, end of the day, my card really wouldn't change. I mean, I still can get numbers on Hovland, Hatton, Thomas, and Hideki that I did at the beginning of the week. But this Rory number right here, that's extremely tempting for me. I think, there's, Henley or, you missed the boat on those guys, but Henley, Siwoo, Adam Scott, I think are my favorite picks of guys down the board that could get a win here. I think Fitzpatrick's a dark horse that no one's really talking about this week. He's on my betting card, but not for an outright. And that's really about it. So that's my final thoughts for the Memorial. Thanks for watching. You can go and rate, review, and subscribe to the Golf King Podcast on Spotify and Apple. Go subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We put out free content every single week with that. And with that, good luck with all your bets for the Memorial.